Oh man, it's hot in here. Oh weird, my water's empty. Hey babe, money's gonna be tight this month, so we don't have anything extra for car parts.
Welcome back to Veteran Idiot. I'm Art, and I'm going to be your idiot for the day. This is my big block 460 that I yanked out of this pile. And today, I'm going to attempt to get it nice and cleaned up and painted and throw some of the new stuff that we got for it on there. Some of it hasn't shown up yet, but that's okay. I think we got enough today to get this thing nice and dressed and clean and ready to bolt the transmission back up to. That way when we get Earl up here, we can just yank the engine out of it and throw this in. So it's an easy swap. As far as the thing is that I want to touch on with this particular swap. So I went with the 460 out of an RV because it's got a longer duration cam, a little bit more for the low end torque, which I want. This truck's not going to be doing 8,000 RPM. So I want some low end torque for the flatbed, pulling stuff and loading and all that other business. So I went with this motorhome 460, found one for $600. Let's keep a tally of this here. For $600 inside an RV, and the guy's like, just take the RV, you can have the whole thing. I'm like, okay, cool, I'll just drive it home. And it's in the last episode, which I'll link as well. That didn't work out too well. It didn't want to run at all, didn't want to come home, so I had that issue going for me. So $600, and then I had to get it towed home, which I got a really good deal on it. I did $450 to get me home. However, a lot of the quotes that I got because of a heavy tow were in the realm of $1,000 to $1,800 to tow it home about 20 miles. So keep that in mind. All right, so we're at about $1,050 right now for this engine. We're not out of it as far as what I think it's worth. It's only got like 70,000 miles on it, and it ran great once I got the fuel figured out, so I'm not worried about that. I think we're still good with the price on that. However, now none of the salvage companies will take this motorhome. They all tell me that they don't want it. So I found an RV specialist. He doesn't want it because it doesn't have an engine anymore. So what I need to do is I need to get it towed to a landfill where they'll crush it, and I get rid of it that way. So looking at if I get the same good deal, minimum of $450, $400 to tow it over there. And then I got to yank the wheels and tires off of it and the AC unit off of the top before they'll take it into the crusher and crush it. So at a minimum, right now we're at like $1,500 for this particular engine. I think it's still worth it. I couldn't find anything really under like $3,000-$4,000, and then if I wanted something like a crate engine, $7,000, $10,000, $14,000. So I think I'm still good in that aspect. But I just wanted to share that if you're thinking of doing it as well, keep in mind that you're going to have to pay for a heavy tow. If it doesn't move, you're going to have to do it at least once. If you can drive it home, you're going to have to heavy tow it wherever it goes from there. And keep in mind, nobody's going to want it And then you're going to have to figure out if your landfill will actually take it. So those are the things. And if I had to do it again, I don't think I would, just because of that entire mess that it is with it. I can't just chop up the frame and throw it in a salvage. It's all the plywood, insulation, everything else. I would actually have to like rent a dumpster to come out and do it, and that's just as much as the tow. So I don't think I'd do it again. Do I think the engine was worth it? Yes, but I still wouldn't do it again. I would find a different way to do it. Just kind of a headache. Just keep that in mind when you're going for a big block, something like this. Find something that's already pulled out. Work a deal with the person that has the motorhome to pull the engine. That way they have to deal with the motorhome itself and get rid of it. Chances are they already know that they can't, and so they're going to try and get rid of it like this dude did, which I didn't think of it ahead of time. But so back to this guy. Let's go ahead and start pulling some of these brackets off that I don't want to be the same color as the block. And we'll get rid of some of these smog things. I bought some plugs. Pull it off. We'll take the knotted wire wheel to it, clean it all up, and then get some paint on it. So I got about 7,000 little wires stuck in me everywhere. I'm going to try and pick out most of those. But I got all the smog stuff off. And now that I've got the valve covers cleaned up and some of the wire wheel stuff off, manifold stuff like that, I'm going to go ahead and spray it off one more time. Clean up all this dust and everything else. Spray it off. That way it's prepped and ready to primer, and then we'll throw some paint on. I'm going to rebuild that carburetor because I got that kit in too while I'm waiting for that paint to dry. Because you know, that's what you do when it's 750 degrees in your shop. You rebuild a carburetor and sweat yourself to death. So now that we're all cleaned up, one of the first things you want to do with a project like this is make sure that you leave the oil plug partially open so it drips all over your concrete and stains it. Second thing you want to do is just primer over everything. We're not looking for perfect here. I'm just gonna primer over everything. It's gonna be real nice. Yeah, all of it. All of it. All these wires, just get everything. Oh yeah. Alright, now that we've used that entire can, primered every inch of this thing, now we can spray it with the blue. Don't worry about all this stuff I spray painted over. I'm just using it to hold holes right now. I'm going to take it out. And she'll look real nice when she's done, I promise. Alright, so the next step we're going with, slathering a bunch of Old Ford blue on there. Yeah. And there we go. Ooh, she is bright. I don't think I was expecting that blue to be that bright. That's all right. Let's stay with it, see where it takes us. Put a happy little tree over here. Happy little mountains back here. All right, base coat is slung. I got another can, we'll give it another coat. Shouldn't take long for this to dry. It is really hot out here. Really, really hot. So it should bake in nicely. All right, oh, missed the spot. There we go. Second coat is on, final coat. It's starting to lose some of its intensity, the blue anyways. And so I'm happy about that. It's starting to darken some. So that first coat before it was dry was just, wow, blue. And so I'm glad it's calmed down a little bit. Now we can start pulling off the stuff I'm not gonna use that was just covering holes and bolt on the new stuff. Scrape that down. I think I'm gonna drill and tap this intake to get rid of that smog adapter that was on here and just put a plug in there. This distributor's going away, it's getting HEI. Manifolds are gonna go away. Maybe they'll go away. Obviously a new filter, and then a fuel pump's gonna go here. I'm not gonna use an electric pump. I'm gonna use a mechanical pump. And let's drag it back inside, start putting some stuff on it. All right, gotta push back inside. Ugh, smells like a Sherman Williams had an orgy in here. I'm gonna let it sit in here and bake overnight to dry up. She ain't perfect, but she'll look good enough. That primer we threw on there is gonna keep this paint on here through it all. Those brackets are gonna probably order up some different ones since those have the smog pump bracket or the mounts in them, so they don't really fit with what we need. And it puts the alternator way down at the bottom. And alternators, they don't like the heat, so I'm gonna try and get it up a little bit higher and in the front. Put it up on the top because of the original, or some of the other 460 mounts have it up here on the top on this side, and then some are even over on this side over here, but right here ought to be good. I got some more plugs I'm gonna throw in to get rid of the EGR tube and plug this intake manifold. I don't want to swap out this intake manifold just yet. This one does pretty good on its own, but they're expensive, man. They're just expensive, and I'm trying to do this one on the cheap and see just how much I can get away with to get this thing in here and get it running good, rather than just throwing a ton of parts at it and get everything new and all the high performance stuff. So I'm gonna try and make this one work. And for that little F-250, this thing's gonna be plenty of power just as it is. I won't have to do much for power mods to keep it moving along. But for tonight, I'm gonna go ahead and turn in and get some shut-eye, and we'll let this guy sit in here and bake in this disgustingly hot, smells like a paint store environment. Let's see what we got for temperature in here. Oh man, still just bare, looks like 108. It's rough out here in the desert, I'll tell you. But that's gonna be it for tonight. I'll see you in the morning. It's the next night. It's time to get started on this bad dog. Some things that I noticed, I missed a couple spots here and some spots over here and there and over here some spots here as well. It's good, looks good. We're all good. So what I'm gonna do is the distributor showed up, so we're gonna get that plopped in. And why is it loose? That's weird. Pulling the spark plugs anyways, we'll get the timing set. So go ahead and do that now. I'm gonna pop these manifolds off and pull these spark plugs. That way I can get them all coated. The manifolds, that is, not the spark plugs. I'm curious to see what they look like though. It's your hearted man and it's so hard to find. Ooh. Weird. Here you go, little friend. We'll tackle that. Don't worry about this mess. It happens. Ooh, that was loose. That was loose too. Interesting. Concerning. These are like finger tight. Ooh, there's a tight one. They are surprisingly clean. Of course, it wasn't smoking though, so I guess I should have expected them to be clean. That one's black. Black. All right, let's get these valve covers off. It's your heart and mine, and it's so hard to find. Oh yeah. It looks really good under there actually. These valve covers don't look like they've ever been over torqued. They're all still nice and flat. Nothing inside of them. That's a win. That's a valve cover win. Same with this one. No rust inside of it. Nice and flat. Take it. Oh, these things are money. Beautiful. Take it. That's another win. Wins on top of wins. Needs a little scraping. So that's one good thing about this engine, is it doesn't look like it's ever been molested. Hasn't been taken apart by like 12 different teenagers. Probably the exact same valve cover gaskets that it's always had. Just a nice clean engine. Try and zap these manifolds real quick. Cool, so while the manifolds are off and out there, getting sandblasted, go ahead and we'll start pulling the distributor out, and then we'll get top dead center and throw the new distributor in. Going with something cool. What's that over there? Going with something cool that I used on my 390 Bronco before. Going with an HEI distributor. This is going to get rid of that ignition module, the voltage regulator, all that business, because we're going one wire alternator and this HEI. Integral, 12 volt in, tack on one side. I even got the plugs for it. And then I got a build your own plugs kit for the wires. And so let's get on that part. She's nice, real nice. It matches kind of, looks real nice. In case you were wondering, this one is by Proform. Let's see where that top dead center is. Fuel pump never showed up, so we'll have to tackle that another day. Ooh, coming on up. All right, so you hear the wind whistling past my finger over here. I know I'm coming up on a compression stroke. So we'll get a little screwdriver in here, see where we're at the top. Ooh, it might be right there already. Looks like that's it right there. Let's pull this cover off, see where we're pointed. This cover has number 1 facing off in this direction, which, dang it, I've been on Chevys so freaking long. Forgot we're 1, 2, 3, 4 on this side. Cylinder ahead, 1. Dang it. All right, so we're gonna go over here and we're gonna get on compression. Oh, coming up. Fun little fact in case you didn't know. It's a 385 series engine, not an FE. They call it 385 because that's the stroke, 3.85. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm almost positive that's what it's about. So this sucker, top dead center, is pointed at what they had for number 1, which off that direction. Strange. That is strange. And really, the cap only goes on one way. Why is 1 pointed at 8? If anybody knows why 1 is pointed at 8 on this particular engine, go ahead and let me know. It's weird. It's real weird. This will put it back in this spot. And Yeah, weird, real weird. Go ahead and put it back in this spot, and then we'll set the timing with the gun. There she is. Pop this cover off. All right. Get a little oil on this O-ring up here. That sucker rests right on top of that water pump housing. There is a relief for it in there, but man, it is right on top of it. Show you what I'm talking about. So it is all the way down, but there just ain't a whole lot of clearance in there. It does clear, but it is right there, all the way down. Problem I'm having right now is the pump shaft is letting it drop to where it was before. I don't want to pick up this pump shaft and drop it down into the engine. All right, we'll go with that. See where our timing at once we get her fired up. May have to do lots of adjusting. We'll start it off with 20 degrees before top dead center. See where that gets us. Just not playing nicely. Interesting. Looks like I'm gonna have to clock this oil pump shaft anyways. What in the hell? All right, there we go. One. Why, I don't know, but one. Plug this bad dog back in. Sweet, let's get these valve covers back on. Right, valve covers are on. I got them a little bit loose because I've got some loom or some, you know what I'm trying to say. Definitely 40 thousandths. Oh yeah, 40 thousandths. Oh, this one's like 38, but it's close enough. That is definitely not 40 thousandths. We'll fix that one. It's only some things that I can let slide, you know. That's just not one of them. Can't do it. Can't do it, bro. So, how's your night going? Good, 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 good. Yeah. All right, well, I'm gonna start putting together these looms. Why don't you guys take a break? Be right back.
The show starts in 2 minutes.
Well, folks, there you have it. You got the spark plug wires ran. If you've never done one of these custom spark plug wire kits before, it's a life experience that you should probably just do and knock out of the way. I'm just messing around. It wasn't that bad. But it's in there. Rebuilt the carburetor, but I got to put a new gasket on there, so it's just chilling. And these manifolds need new gaskets. I got to go pick those up too. Put on the new oil dipstick. Looks pretty slick. And I'm not going to put the rest of these brackets on and the pulleys on until I get that fuel pump in. Fuel pump in is going to go in there. But beyond that, I'm just super excited to throw this thing in. Went through all the rockers and push rods, all the tolerances are all good. Change the oil pan, gasket, and there's no slack in any of the rods. Really, really excited to get this thing into the truck and see what it can do. Even if it's only like 220 horsepower, it's gonna be like 3 times as much that's in there right now. So that'll be better than nothing, you know? But no, we're just kidding. I'm excited to throw this thing in. I'm tired. The shop needs cleaned again. It is ridiculous. So we're gonna call it a night on this one. Stay tuned for the next episode where we put the finishing touches on this bad boy and throw it in Oscar. Until then, make sure you like, comment, subscribe, hit that super thanks if you liked the episode, and we'll catch you on the next one, and as always, have fun.